Hi friends, it's Mr. Alex from Adams Memorial Library, and I'm back with another fun seasonal craft. Since it's about to be the fall and Halloween seasons, I thought that it would be a great time to make a spooky spider craft. Now, don't forget that if you'd prefer to craft at home, you can come to the library at the children's desk or curbside pickup to get your very own craft kit that'll have almost everything that you need to make the spider that I'm about to show you. Or if you'd prefer to do your crafting in person, you can come on down to the children's room and we'll have a DIY space ready for you. So let's get our materials and start crafting. In order to make our fall or Halloween spider, you're going to need just a few things. First, out of the kit that you'll get here at the library, you should have a piece of toilet paper tube, a piece of colored paper, 4 pipe cleaners that match the color of your piece of paper, and 2 wiggle eyes. Now, if you aren't able to come to the library and pick up a kit, that's okay. You can go ahead and gather all of those supplies at home. Then, regardless of whether you have one of our kits or not, you'll need the following things from your own home. Markers, crayons, or something else to decorate your spider with, a glue stick to hold it all together, a pair of scissors to trim your spider, and a hole punch or some other way to make the holes for our spider's legs. So let's gather that up and get started. The first part of making our spider craft is that we're going to take our section of toilet paper or paper towel tube and we're going to attach our colored sheet of paper. Now, this should already be cut so that our piece of paper is roughly the same size as our tube, but you may notice whenever you apply the paper that either parts of your tube or paper are sticking out, and that's okay. We're going to trim those later. But first, we're going to take our glue stick or other glue that we have at home, and we're going to apply the glue to our strip of paper. Now, I found that this glue stick in particular, it really adheres to the paper, it really sticks well, but it doesn't stick so well to the tube. So I want to make sure that I have lots of glue on the paper and lots of glue on the tube. And that's going to help make sure that my paper sticks, because that's going to be the basis for our spider. So once we've added glue to both of those, then it is time to take our piece of paper and we're just going to roll it around our tube like this, applying it to our cardboard. And it might go around a few times, and that's okay because, like I said, the glue actually sticks better to the paper. So any areas that you have that's sort of paper on paper, those are going to be best. And if it doesn't quite stick, you may have to do this, 1 or 2 times just to get it to stick absolutely perfectly. Because the other thing that you don't want is you don't want parts of your paper to be sticking up. So like for instance here on the tab, if it's still sticking up, then I might want to peel it down a little bit. Just add a bit more glue and hold it into place. Now, as I mentioned, you'll see that our tube is not quite even around our paper. There are some places like right here where it sticks out. And so all we want to do is put the cap back on our glue so that it doesn't dry out. And then take our pair of scissors and trim around our tube. So as we do this, we're just going to make sure that all you're seeing is the top of our construction paper. So we'll trim like that. And then we'll trim the other side as well. And after some trimming, now none of the cardboard is sticking out the whole way around the tube. And this is going to be the basis for our spider's body. But we want to make sure that we give our glue time to dry. So we're going to go ahead and set this aside and wait for it to dry. And then I'll be back to show you how to attach the rest of your spider. Once we have attached the paper to our tube, our next step is to add our spider's legs. So how we're going to do this is that we're going to take our hole punch and we're going to punch 4 holes in the top of our tube. Now, when I say in the top, that's because we want our holes to be more toward the top than toward the middle. If they're in the middle, that's going to be too low. And we want to space them out so that the seam where we glue the paper is on the back, and we want to make sure that we leave enough room for our spider's face on the front of the project. And there are a couple different ways that you can accomplish this. One of them that I would suggest is taking your hole punch and punching your four holes to start. So for instance, I might want to punch one here. And again, I want these to be pretty close together because that way we're going to save enough room on the front for our spider's face. So I've got 2 and 3 and 4. And so now I have 4 holes that we can put our pipe cleaners through. Now I want to duplicate this on the other side of our spider. But in order to make sure that we have perfectly lined up holes, what we can do is mark on the other side where the holes are. So for instance, what I found to do best, or to work best, is I took a paper clip and I unwound it a bit, and then I can put the paper clip through the hole, mark where that is, go to the next hole, and do the same. And then that'll leave me with 4 marks that are exactly across from where I punched my original ones. And it doesn't have to be a paper clip. You can use anything that'll fit through this hole. I just happen to have a paper clip with me. But now that I have my 4 marks inside, it's time to punch our other holes straight across for our spider's legs. One and 2 and 3 and 4, just like that. All right, so now we have 4 holes on this side and 4 holes on this side, and it's time to attach our spider's legs. So how we're going to do this is we're going to take one of our pipe cleaners and we're going to feed it through one side of our project and out the other, just like this. Then we want to make sure that we have an even amount of pipe cleaner, so I recommend just lining it up and pulling them up to the top. If they are about the same length at the top, like this, then you know that your project is pretty even. And then we can go ahead with the next step, which is that we're going to take one end of our pipe cleaner and loop it back into the project through the same hole that we just put it through. And that's going to create a loop at the top of your spider. And you may have to use your fingers to tighten that up a little bit. But now we have a loop with our pipe cleaner. And all that loop is for is just to make sure that our pipe cleaner is not going anywhere, that it is securely attached to our spider. So we'll go ahead and we'll loop back through on the other side, pull it nice and tight, and now we have 2 loose ends for our spider's legs. You can make the shapes for your spider's legs however you want. You might want some really wavy legs or some legs that just go straight up and down. It's up to you. What I recommend is pinching toward the base here, up into a peak that rises a little bit above where your spider's joint is here, and then just making the rest of your leg go down until it touches the table or the floor, just like this. So we'll go ahead and do it on that side. And don't worry at this point if your spider's legs look a little uneven. For instance, this leg is definitely longer than this leg on my spider. We're going to go ahead and trim that up at the end. But now we need to go ahead and add our other 3 pipe cleaners through the other holes that we've made. So let's go ahead and do that. And just like that, we have all of our spider's legs attached. Now you'll notice at this point that they look kind of inconsistent and messy, so there are a couple of things that we can do to fix that up. The first thing that we can do is, just as you might have seen me do toward the end, we can put a finger under here and bend all of our spider's legs over the same point to make them a little more equal. Now, again, keep in mind, this is only if you want your spider's legs to be consistent. You might have a totally different vision in mind for your spider, and that is a-okay. But just like that, we now have one side of our spider's legs that, for the most part, bend up at the same point, just like that. But they're not the same length. So what we can do is we can take our scissors from before and go ahead and cut these off just like that, so that now all of our spider's legs are even and symmetrical. Then we can go ahead and repeat that process on this side as well. So just putting a finger under the spider's legs, folding them over there to create that peak at the base of the spider's legs, and then taking our scissors and cutting off the pipe cleaners so that all of the legs are even. We'll go ahead and take the bits of pipe cleaner and clear those out of the way. And now we have the basis for our spider. The last thing that we need to do is give our spider a face. So in order to do that, we're going to take our wiggle eyes that we have from before, and we're going to take our glue stick from before, and we're going to add them on. Now, something you may have noticed is that my spider's legs here don't quite let the body touch the table. So if that's the case, all we need to do is bend the legs out a bit so that they're at a wider angle. And once we do that, our spider should be able to sit flat on the table. So we'll adjust it a little bit. And there you have it. We have one spider that sits on the table. So we'll take our glue stick and we'll apply our wiggle eyes. Now, just like the cardboard, the wiggle eyes do not necessarily stick the best with the glue stick. So if you are using glue stick, you want to make sure to really hold on your eyes to press them on and give them some time to dry as well. Something else that you definitely want to avoid doing, as you can see, I flipped my spider around because I did not want to glue my eyes onto the side of our spider with the seam. So make sure you do that as well. So I'm going to glue one eye there and one eye here. I'm going to make my eyes line up, but you could glue your eyes on however you'd like. If you want them to be a little bit different or a little bit silly, you could do that as well. I'm going to add a little more glue. And press it on to let it adhere or stick. And there we have it. Now, the last thing that we need to do is get our marker, crayon, or other decorating supplies, and we're going to give our spider a mouth. So I'm going to take my marker, draw what looks like a little W for our spider's mouth, and our spider will be complete. We can go ahead and set our marker aside and get ready to celebrate for Halloween or any other fall holiday with this great looking spider. I want to thank everybody who came out to craft with me today. I think our spooky spider friend turned out pretty awesome, but most importantly, I'd love to see how your spiders turned out. So be sure to send those pictures on over to us at kids@adamslib.org because I'd love to see your craft. And don't forget to follow us on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube for updates not only about future crafts, but also everything else that we're doing at the library. And as always, happy crafting, everyone.